Hello, hello, hello. Alright, first of all, addressing the elephant in the room, yes, I'm back in the old ass studio. Yeah, that happened. We did the moving thing. I don't exactly know how many videos I had done in the old studio that you can actually see backgrounds with or whatever, but, well, not old. Temporary, I guess, unfortunately. But anyway, we're back in this. Have to redo my background, obviously, still, because you can see where things used to be hung up because the canvases I used were cheap, let's be honest. But yeah, we're back. It's here again. Anyway, I did say that was happening. So if you don't keep up with the videos, that's what happened. Anyway, it's time for Animarathon haul. I do like that they always have different lanyards every year. That is kind of a nice touch. That every year the lanyard is different too. Colossal could really learn from that one, honestly. Like, I feel like Colossal is a little bit lacking in their lanyard game. I guess the reason they don't necessarily do the fancy lanyards is because they do more, like, actual shirts and stuff. But whatever. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to do this like we usually do it in two parts. One part being all of the big stuff and one part being all of the little stuff. That is going to be desk cam. Because that's just the more convenient way to do it. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's significantly more convenient to just be like, hey, here's all the big stuff. And then next time it's, hey, here's all the little stuff. Also, I'm not entirely sure where the stain came from, but just before anyone points it out, I'm aware that it's there. I don't know how it got there. I assume it's because one of my less good rags got wet and sat on it for like long enough that it left a weird little purple mark. But the rest of the shirt is gray and purple too, so I don't care. Anyway, let's get started with this thing that came in really, really handy. Now, we almost got this design as a mouse pad, but we needed a bag anyway, because one of our bags kind of vanished in the move and we haven't found it yet. So here we are. It's actually really nice. It's got like a zippy... It's a nice zippery tote bag. It doesn't have any pouches inside though. I like totes with pouches inside, but those also usually cost more. So it worked really well because it is exactly the correct size to carry plushies. So that's convenient. Speaking of things, instead of getting the mouse pad with that design on it, we got the mouse pad with this design on it. And the reason we did that is because they did not make this design as a tote. Because I would have done it the other way around otherwise. But also my other thought process is we have several Pokemon mouse pads. So, like, I'm not fussed about not getting that as a mouse pad. If you've been watching for anyway, if you've been seeing, or if you saw some of the other ones, they are the same people that made my little ghost type glass mug thing, cup thing before that was posted on one of the other ones. And now we get to the pile of stuffies, because I love stuffies. He was not my first choice. This is actually the one that Josh wanted, and he was my second choice. Because they ran out of my first choice on the second day, and Josh refused to let me buy them on the first day. So now I have this cute little nerd cat. My first choice was a clown cat named Mr. Wiggles. The only thing that kept me from fighting more for him is that he was a white cat, which means that he would pick up dust like freaking crazy, especially since I am now in a house in which all of the walls are that wood paneling stuff, and the wood paneling just collects dust really badly, and you can't feather dust it away because it's wood paneling. Anyway, I do believe that they also make other outfits for them, but I don't know if they make them for the large sizes, because I only saw outfits for their like keychain size ones. So I will probably be looking more into them later to see if they have the outfits for their other ones. I am amused by the bells, though. The bells make me happy. Beep. I think these are the next group of things are probably like a collection of Crane Game toys that they were just selling instead. And I say this due to the stitching quality, which I will show you in a minute. Nevertheless, they are very cute. And I do really like them. He's a cute spider with derpy face. This one is the lightly pink one, although he's kind of washed out on this. The other option was brown for this size. They only had like the pink and the brown for this size. He's very fluffy though. But like the stitching quality is what makes me think he's probably a Crane Game toy. And that becomes more evident in the miniature version. All of them were shaped like this. Now clearly, the legs were supposed to be sewn this way. Except that puts his little mouthy parts on his head and his face on the bottom. And every single one of the ones that were this size, that were the keychain size, were messed up in this way. And all they had to do was sew the legs on facing the other way, but instead he's a bull spider. And I kind of love him. Because he is ridiculous and silly. And silly looking. Now this one came in brown, white, pink, and I think orange and yellow. Which, again, the fact that they're all basically the same except for the colors makes me also more prone to thinking that they're probably a Crane Game toy. And while we're doing those, y'all know I love axolotls. These are all basically exactly the same, except color. And they are also exactly the same as the purple one and the blue one that I've had in previous videos. But this, the way that this back is sewn up, and you can kind of see it, is what makes me more certain that these are Crane Game toys. That they just are selling. Hilariously, it's the tie-dye one that has the best stitching, which is strange to me because usually the tie-dye ones are the ones that it's the most obvious when the stitching is bad, other than like black plushies. Like black and tie-dye seem to be the ones that it's the most obvious when stitching is wrong. And maybe they knew that and made the stitching better on this one for that reason. I don't know. His mouth has a weird little wispy thing sticking out of it, though. I'm just gonna cut that off now while I'm thinking about it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna remember. He also has this weird little black speck on his chin that it won't come off. I've been picking at it for way too long and it's not coming off. I don't understand. But they are very cute. And they are going in the axolotl stuffy net. And yes, we do have a stuffy net that is only for axolotls. Well, amphibians in general. Because our frogs are also going in there. And the other two miscellaneous salamanders that are not in axolotls. It's an amphibian stuffy net. Yeah. And while we're on axolotls. So, happens to be that a lot of other people also like axolotls. So we found a latte-alotl. An axolotl. I think I like axolotl better than latte-alotl. Latte-alotl is how I survive, to be fair, but anyway, he's very cute. So there's a lot of people at conventions that sell like hand-knitted thingies. And they're usually quite expensive, but that's because they're made by hand, and I understand that, and that's why I'm okay paying the more expensive price usually. Usually. Unless it's something that I look at and I go, I can literally make that for like half that price, and it doesn't take that much time. Which happens a lot, actually. But, anyway, latte-alotl. Doo-doo-doo. I love him. I need desperately to get better at yarn string crafts, because I am particularly not good, mostly due to my lack of patience. And the fact that every single time I touch string, somehow it turns into a mess of knots. I don't understand that one. Like, every single time I do anything involving string, it ends up becoming a ball of knots, and then I get angry at it. Yeah. I have a couple kits that are supposed to teach you how to do this. I think it's called a Groomy or something like that. And I've been trying really hard, but I don't understand them. I don't understand them. Anyway. For those of you who don't know, it does happen to be hosted on a college campus, which does mean that there are college campus merchandise too. And they happened to release a BGSU axolotl for, I assume, reasons being that people like axolotls. So yeah, this exists, and it's adorable, and we saw him, and we needed him. And that is all. And while we're on the BGSU ones, BGSU apparently has a thing with Palm Pals, which I did not know, because they also have a bunch of these adorable little Palm Pals Beanie Baby guys wearing the wearing the merchandise that you can buy. At the thing. And I did not know that. But it's a tiny little goblin creature. And I can't not have that in my life. Especially since I have the other, like, Palm Pals goblin that's like the regular green one. And now I have this ridiculously overly floofy pink one wearing a college shirt. I don't know why this exists, but I'm not mad that it does. I'm waiting for them to make Pudge the Cat merch, because that has to happen at some point, with Pudge the Cat having become an unofficial mascot of sorts. Yeah. Oh, we're actually almost done with the big stuff. Neat. This will actually be a short-ish haul video, since I'm not trying to merge everything into one. I found this tiny Dwiffloon. He got an afro. He's got the little wobbly wiggy leggies. He's really cute. Another one of those hand knit guys. Yeah. He's so cute, though. The fun part is a lot of the, like, people who are there that are selling the hand knit stuff literally just bring their knitting supplies with them. And they're also just knitting behind the booth while you're buying things and looking at things. It's very fun. Your hair is so fluffy. It feels nice to do this with. Do you stay on my light? No. Okay. Sad. I was hoping you would stay on the light. But you were just not with the balancing goodly. What I wish with something like this is that the person would have included like a string hidden in the hair that you can, like a white string that's like a loop that pulls up. And that way, if you want to like hang it on something, you can, and if you don't, you can just hide it back in the fluff. Like, not one of those ridiculously long strings that you see on a lot of things, but just like one of those little tiny, cute strings that only comes up about this far out of the hair, and then you can like hang it on things. And then when you don't, and then if you like don't want to have it hanging somewhere, you can just tuck the thing back into the fluff and refluff it, and then you can't see that there's a thing there. That would be a good idea. And I can't imagine that would take a lot of extra effort. Based on the little that I do know about how to make these, it would just be a single extra thing. And that might make it easier, because then you can hang them from places, and they look cute. Anywho, I have rambled on about that enough. Let's find let me go to the ridiculous one. We need to get things to hang this on the wall with. But we it's a mounted elephant head plushie. And it's ridiculous and silly and speaks to my it's giving very lolly in appearances, and how like decorations for that tend to work, which is why I was immediately drawn to it. And then I told the boy about the silly elephant, and he was like, "Yes, no, we're getting that because it's an elephant." It kind of does make me wonder, though, what they did with the rest of the body of the stuffy, though. Where is him body? Did they mount his body somewhere else? What might have been a fun way to do with this would be make it into, like... you just cut the stuffy in half and make it into book things. And like one half is has the legs and then the block, and then you like have to add weight into the legs of the stuffy, obviously, so it can actually hold books. And then you take the other half of the stuffy and then it's a book thing. That might have also been a fun way to do it. Or you just make, instead of the block of wood, you just make the block of wood look like a book, like a cartoony book. And then you have that on both sides, so that way it blends in and it doesn't look like a mount. I don't know. I just know this is silly and ridiculous, and I love it. I don't know if the back is... So I'm not going to show the back because it does have actual name on it. But the back says to Mom and Dad from name. And then it has another name. And I'm just like, I don't know if that just means like this mount used to be from someone else. Because they did specifically put it so the names are on the bottom part of where the mount is. So it makes me wonder if maybe like this piece of wood used to be part of something else. I didn't get to ask the person who made it simply because I noticed it after we had already left the dealer's room. If we're being honest. Anyway. Now we're on to the pillow things. Because it's an anime con. That's not gonna not happen. So we got a nifty. It's gonna be really easy to tell which of these are mine and which of them are the hubbins. And then her other side, she's in this really cute little dress and hat situation. I'm not gonna lie, I would have probably wanted the nifty was the other one that I wanted out of the ones that they had of these anyways. No. But got nifty. They did make this kind of nice because you can unzip it and then all the stuffing's inside. And that way if you want it firmer, it's easy to do, which is actually what I did with mine. And then if you want to wash it, you can just remove all the stuffing, throw the case in the washing machine, and then go from there. Does need a little bit of floofing, which is also easier to do when you have access to the stuffing. Because then you can literally just reach in and be like, this part is weirdly not being floofed. Stretch. That was bothering me in case you couldn't tell. Mine I made stiffer for exactly that reason. There we go. Now her hair is doing properly. Anyway, we have a nifty. That one's the one the boy picked out, but I would have probably picked it out anyways. This one is mine. To the absolute and utter shock of literally no one. The only reason it took me so long to get this one is because I kept hoping that they would make a full-size version. And they keep not doing that. And so here's the thing. The commission price to get a custom version of the full-size one is $500. And I 100% fully and completely understand why it is that price. Because as you have seen on this channel, I have made 2 of them by myself. And I actually did a design for a 3rd one for a friend of mine that that just never got made into an actual body pillow. Because they asked me for a sexy version of a character, and then I apparently somehow made it too sexy. Even though I was also specifically showing nothing. So, I 100% completely and fully understand why getting custom full-size body pillows is $500. Because it is a pain in the ass to make both sides, and because you have to remember it's going to be huge, you have to add as much detail and shading, and I understand. But at some point, when you are an artist who has also already done this, you go, or I could do it myself, get exactly the thing that I want, and spend less money on doing that, and yes, it will take a whole lot of time to do. If I recall correctly, the artwork for both the Malark and the Luca one that I did, each took me around between 8 and 12 hours total. And so yes, that is, again, why I completely understand why it's $500 for a custom. Or I could just spend the 8 to 12 hours, do it myself, get it exactly what I want it to be, and then spend $80 to print it. So, like, at that point, my brain is just like, that's not, it, the reason that I buy the pre-made ones at all is entirely convenience based. And at that point, the convenience of having someone else do the work for me outweighs the cost. And on that note, the 2 body pillows that were gotten, which is again going to be really, really easy to tell whomst is whomsts. Now, I'm not unfolding these to get pictures of them, mostly because they're a pain in the ass to get actual good pictures of. Excuse me. So, this one's obviously the boys. Obviously. And just as obviously, this one is mine. But I am not unrolling these to get pictures of them because no. Because no. Generally just because no. Getting actual decent pictures of these, as I learned from the video that I made showing off the ones that I had done, is a pain. And we're just gonna go with that. So we're not gonna do that. Anywho, that is all of the big things. Hang around for next week when I show you all of the little things. Because this entire bag is full of stickers and keychains. Oh, and this is the people who did the little gray nerd cat that I have. Anywho, toodaloo.